It's time for some fantasy football advice for everyone that hasn't done any drafts or, or maybe have and just looking to get more insight. We're jumping in today with tight ends, an important position to really strategize for to try and win your leagues. Today, Mike, Jermz, and myself all together in our 12-man league. Currently, we've been active since 2011. Together, we've got 8 championships. Mike and Jeremy with 3 apiece. Is that right?
Sounds right.
Yeah.
So you guys definitely want to listen in to some valuable fantasy insight. I know these guys take this stuff very seriously. After all, I think if you're not taking it seriously, then what are we really doing, right? So we won't be running through all the names in our rankings, but we're going to post them at the end and in the description below. And so if you guys have any feedback, questions, feel free to holler at us in the comments section, as well as on our Twitter or Instagram, Fantasy Football and Bets. Appreciate you guys watching and chipping in. Jumping right in, guys, the tight end one. He's been tight end one for 5 straight seasons. That's Travis Kelce. No signs of slowing down, in my opinion, right? Kansas City didn't really add any notable names on that offense that would steal targets from him. His ADP right now is 8. I've even seen mocks where people are drafting him as early as number 5 overall, but really no later than like the mid-second round. So, guys, I want to hear your thoughts on that. What do you guys think about that early tight end strategy? If you're in that 5 to 10 place draft spot, are you taking Travis Kelce, and why?
Yeah, man. So I have no problem with the early Kelce selection. I think, like you said, top tight end for the last 5 years. If you look at the last 2 years, especially, I think last year in PPR, he had like 315 points. The year before that, it was like 260. He's looking at around 280 points on average between the last 2 years in PPR, which last year I think would have been wide receiver 5. Year before that would have been wide receiver 2. There's not many places that you can replicate that kind of production from the tight end position outside of Kelce. So if you're looking at, even Darren Waller is like a 3.5 drop off per game last year. Kittle, who was great last year when he was playing, was still, over a 5-point drop off per game from Kelce. And the wide receiver class this year is relatively deep. I mean, the running back class may not be as deep. So if you're one of those top 5, top 6 picks, maybe you want to go running back to try and snag up one of the good ones when you can. But as we've seen, I mean, how many of those top 6 guys got hurt last year? McCaffrey was great when he played, but he played like 4 games. Zeke was hurt. Saquon was hurt. I know that because I drafted him, I think 3rd overall, and got hurt in the second week. But Kelce just seems like he keeps on going. So it's Kelce, Waller, Kittle, and then a steep drop off after that. So if you want to secure one of those 3 guys, then I think you should go for it. And I think waiting for Waller or Kittle is kind of a gamble, because once Kelce goes, I think Waller and Kittle are probably going to follow pretty quickly after.
I think so. I put myself in a situation where I'd have like 11th or the 12th pick in our league, and I was thinking to myself, would I go Kelce? And because how competitive our league is, I definitely would scoop Kelce, which is something I normally wouldn't do because I don't know. I don't go heavy on tight ends. But yeah, you can't not miss out, on going, he's available.
I think 11 or 12 definitely.
Plus points a game.
Yeah. And I mean, you gotta go. He's worth the first round pick. In my gut, I have a gut feeling that the Chiefs are gonna, as a whole, have they're gonna digress, and I think Kelce is same. He's not gonna be the number 1 tight end this year. I guess that'll be my bold statement. He won't be number 1 tight end this year.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
we'll get to that after, I guess.
yeah. So Kelce is as high floor, high ceiling as it gets. I think if every position in your roster was kind of equal, it would not really make sense to take Kelce in the first round. But because he's listed as a tight end, and you can only play one of those. It's not like receiver or running back, where sometimes you could plug 3 running backs, 3 receivers, sometimes 4 receivers. I think as the game evolves and you see these tight end numbers, somebody like Kelce, I think, is worth that first round pick, especially if he drops to that 10, 11, 12 range, because you're about to pick like in a couple picks.
Yeah.
So you could still get, a top tier running back receiver to, combo him.
Yeah.
So how early do you think you go Kelce then? Like, what's the early?
I keep seeing on mocks. It's like he's going 6, 7. I mean, his ADP is 8. So I guess the most common one is 8. But if you're pick number, really it starts at 5.
So I was gonna say if I'm pick 6, I think I'm taking Kelce.
Yeah. So CMC, Cook, Kamara, Henry are top 4 in most leagues.
And then
you're weighing whether to take
Tyreek I take before Kelce, but that's a coin flip to me.
Okay. You guys are high on Kelce. I put myself as getting that 11th pick, and I was thinking, like, if I don't get Kelce,
someone else will.
That's gonna hurt my draft as a whole, and I'm gonna only make the next person stronger. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, I have to pick him up, even if it's for trade value or something like that. That's what that was my conclusion.
Directly after you in this hypothetical mock draft you have in your head.
Yeah.
So that takes me. So that takes me to my next questions. If you're late in round 1 and Kelce's gone, say you're 11, you're 12, and he's gone because his ADP is 8. You have pick number 12, and you're also going to have pick number 13. I imagine it would be a reach to go for Waller at that point, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah.
And so, but you don't have another pick after 12 and 13 until pick number 36. So let's say Waller and Kittle are gone. My question here is, you got some, second tier guys like Hockenson, Fant, Andrews, Pitts. But is there someone else that you guys have in the middle to late round kind of sleepers that you think might have that breakout year and can help you win it all? Mike, who's that guy for you?
So definitely not with the 36th pick. I wouldn't take him, but a guy that I had seen that had kind of fallen was Mike Gesicki. I like Mike Gesicki a lot. It's looking like he could be maybe 8th round. What was his ADP right now?
I think he's going to 7th or 8th. Yeah.
8th round. I would take a flyer on Mike Gesicki in the 8th round. By the 8th round, I've already gotten all of my position players, probably a QB. Tight end at that point would be one of the last spots that I'm filling before I'm getting, high upside guys for my draft or for my bench. And with us, because we draft like 3 days before the regular season starts, I would have to get a kicker and a defense as well. But I like Mike Gesicki a lot. He had 5.5 targets per game with Tua in the lineup. He had one huge game with Fitz behind the helm. But other than that, he did a lot better under Tua. I think Tua is going to improve this year. And I think that having Waddle out there to kind of distract DBs at the same time, I think might actually open some things up for Gesicki. He's always been, especially in college, he was a great yards after catch guy. And he hasn't really shown, I don't think he's shown yet really what he can do. I have this being a big year for Gesicki. So I'd probably go him as long as I can get him in like 6th, 7th round. I think that's a steal.
I like that a lot. 2 years in a row of over 80 targets. Jermz, who's your sleeper? Who's your breakout guy? If you had to take one.
I got a few actually. I kind of feel like this is like low key my like specialty, but I got Evan Ingram just because it's contract year and just he did start a fight I heard in like a practice today or something 2 days ago.
Is that him?
But I think he has a lot of upside. That offense has a lot of weapons now. It's less pressure on him. I guess he has high ceiling. I do like Eric Ebron. With Big Ben, he loves his tight ends, and OJ Howard. I think he's healthy now, so hopefully him and Gronk have some type of little combo thing going on.
I don't know if OJ can stay healthy, man.
That's the big question, his health.
I like that. I like Ingram. I think he's in all of our top 15 rankings. It's hard to not put him in there. My can't miss value guy is Tyler Higbee, ADP 131. So you're drafting this guy, and most people are drafting like the 12th round or whatever that is. Ridiculously low. I think there are always some kind of forgotten names or guys that owners just simply don't like for whatever reason. I think Higbee is one of them. 60 targets in 15 games, but that's with Everett having been there last year. So I think it's fair to assume around 100 targets really for Higbee. That lands you in the top 10 for sure and closer to tight end 5, I think, especially with Stafford there. We don't really have much reason to believe there's going to be that big of a run game as far as volume. So I'm kind of high on Higbee this year. Who's someone that you guys are staying away from? Like you want these viewers to avoid at all costs if they want to win that ring this year, those bragging rights. Either because their ADP you think is just way too high, not worth that pick, or you're seeing something that others aren't. Who's your bust of the year at tight end, Jermz?
I got Gronk just because I just don't see him. Just the age and the damage. I just see him being more of a blocker and decoy type of guy. That's why I was saying, Howard is going to be the one to shine in that that position.
There's a lot of mouths to feed there.
Yeah. Gronk, I think is just for show kind of.
Stay away from Gronk.
I can see
I'm
that.
sure Clacky will still draft Gronk.
Clacky will probably still.
For sure.
Who's that for you, Mike?
So I wouldn't say this guy is stay away from at all costs. I mean, he's still in my top 15. But one guy that I think is going to have a steep drop off is Mark Andrews. I know that we don't all agree on that, but Mark Andrews to me has essentially been replaced. When we were doing the draft a few months ago, we had talked about what a great fit Rashad Bateman was in the Ravens offense, and getting him being that possession guy across the field, and the addition of Sammy Watkins, I think Andrews is going to lose a lot of volume. I still think that he's going to end up with a fair amount of TDs, and I think we'll talk about that a little later. But I think last year he was tight end 4, tight end 5, something like that. I don't think he sniffs that this year. I think he's going to be closer to 10 than he is to 5.
Yeah, he was tight end 6. I had him last year. Started off pretty good. Didn't end the year very well, but average wise, 12 points per game, I believe, in PPR, which put him at 4th. You don't have Andrews in your top 15. That's I think your bold statement there.
Yeah,
I do. I said I do have him in my top 15.
Oh, you do. Oh, okay.
I was saying I'm not saying 100% stay away from this guy, but I'm not drafting him tight end 4, tight end 5. I think I have him listed right now in my top 15 at 8, and even that I think is generous. That's probably going to change before the season starts.
Gotcha. My guy is for whatever reason he's tight end 7 right now in ADP in drafts. ADP 76. I think it's crazy. Dallas Goedert. I don't know how you pronounce it, but I just told you, like, Tyler Higbee, I think is going to have a decent year, and his ADP is 131. So Goedert's getting drafted in the 6th, 7th round. I think it's just way too early. Frankly, I've got him outside of my top 10. Ertz is still there. They're both on their last year of their contract. I can't imagine a situation where Goddard with, you don't really know what you're going to get with Hurts. Goddard and Ertz have kind of some injury history. Although the 65 targets in 11 games last year is impressive, but I think there are more mouths to feed in that offense as well with, if Rager comes back and Devonta Smith is there. I'm just not sure I'm taking Goddard at all. Unless your strategy is drafting 2 tight ends, which I'm honestly kind of a fan of. If you're going to just draft 2 tight ends late and kind of flip them with matchups. But yeah, that's my guy who I'm staying away from.
They have 3 tight ends. They have Richard Rogers. Richard Rogers?
They still have
Richard Rogers?
I think so.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that.
I don't know what's going on there.
The only other guy that I would say that I would be wary of, I had him last year, was Noah Fant. Last year it didn't really work out for me, but that was just because he got hurt. Yeah. But I think this year, even though I like a lot of his game, I just think with Cortland Sutton coming back from injury, and after Sutton went down, what they saw out of KJ Hamler and Tim Patrick, they showed a lot. The defense is going to be improved this year. Von Miller's back. Their secondary is better really than it's been in a long, long time. I'm expecting some low-scoring games, and like you said with Gronk, there's just a lot of mouths to feed in that offense, especially with Jerry Jeudy improving year over year, like we're all expecting. He's going to become even more of the offense. I'm not a big fan of Noah Fant either.
All right. Well, I got some quick buy or sells for you. Buy or sell Jermz. Logan Thomas was tight end 4 last year, 110 targets. He was tied with Robert Tonyan, I think, the most targets at the position league-wide. He ran somewhere around 100 more routes than even Travis Kelce did. Got an upgrade at QB. Is Thomas, once again, going to be in the top 5 as far as tight ends?
I want to say yes because I want that. But realistically, I don't think so. Just because we've never seen a Washington offense that throws that much. Yeah, that's what we expect with Fitz, and with all the other weapons that came in. But I still think they're gonna still try to run the ball a lot. So it's now with Terry and Curtis Samuel, Sims, there's I don't know. I don't see him getting that much volume as last year we needed him. That's all we had. Him and Terry. I feel like
he was a focal point of the offense last year.
I'm 100% with Jermz on that.
Yeah, I don't think more weapons.
I don't think the amount of passes will be an issue. Last year, I think as a whole with our ragtag QB bunch of JV guys, we ended up throwing the ball over 600 times. We were top 5 in pass attempts, I think, last year. So I don't really have an issue with them throwing the ball. I just think the personnel has changed so much. We needed Thomas to soak up a lot of those targets. We were force feeding him. Yeah. He's getting 10 targets a game at one point. I think he ended up with 110, which is way out of the range that I'd expect for him. Last year, I think Terry McLaurin on the football team was the only drafted wide receiver that we had. So it was Terry McLaurin and then a ton of undrafted, a bunch of UDFAs, like Cam Sims and Steven Sims and Wright and all these, nobodies. And it's just not the case this year. This year he has to compete with not only Terry, but also Curtis Samuel, Diami Brown, Adam Humphries has been doing a really good job in training camp. And I've been hearing a lot about DeAndre Carter too. So DeAndre Carter might actually make the team. If Kelvin Harmon is able to come back and do something, then that's something. Another guy that he's going to have to compete with. And if not him, then it's going to be Gandy Golden or if Dax Milne gets a spot. I know it's not going to be Golden, but but even still, it doesn't matter. He's not competing with one guy anymore. He's competing with five. So I don't see it. I think he could still be a great red zone target. And I think he could probably keep up those touchdown numbers, but he's not going to get 110 targets. He's probably going to be around 60.
I don't know. I'll play devil's advocate a little bit. I think he's actually going to be tight end 1. And that's because all the other tight ends are all going to get hurt.
Yeah.
No, they just gave him a nice extension. All you hear about him is continuing to get, better at the position that he's basically, only in his, I think, 3rd, 4th year being a tight end. Yeah, the volume might not be there, but if he's more efficient, which, he didn't have great efficiency last year.
Right.
If he's more efficient, I don't know what stops him from, kind of repeating those numbers again, because there's an upgrade at quarterback, and I don't know, guys do get hurt. He might be top 5. So next one is buy or sell. Detroit and the Rams, they traded quarterbacks. Hockenson was tight end 5, had a breakout year a year ago. And Higbee now has his quarterback. What are the chances that Higbee's ADP, I think I said it earlier, is 131. Hockenson's is 58. What are the chances, buy or sell, Tyler Higbee outplays Hockenson this upcoming year? Mike?
Yeah, I got to sell. I do like Higbee a lot. I just don't think that there's any chance that he's going to – maybe that there's no chance because he's got Matt Stafford behind center right now. But there's just no one in Detroit for Goff to throw to. Like, they lost Kenny Golladay. They got – who did they got? They got Tyrell Williams.
Perriman.
Right, Perriman. And that's pretty much it. I still think that Hockenson is going to be the focal point of that offense. And when you look at like the spray charts for where Goff likes to go, he loves to go like those short, intermediate kind of crossing routes. He likes to go where Hockenson runs. And then you look at Higbee, and it's kind of a chicken or the egg thing because Hockenson got so much volume when Stafford was throwing to him. So you say, okay, Stafford likes to throw to tight ends. But I just think there was no one else for Stafford to throw to a lot of the time. Well, at least when you look at last year, Golladay was hurt most of the year. So I think it was Hockenson and Marvin Jones tied for like maybe 110, 115 targets or something like that. I don't see Higbee getting that kind of love when Stafford has Kupp and Woods at his disposal. The Cam Akers news does change things. I think that boosts Higbee a little bit. And I like Higbee a lot to have a good year. But I think Hockenson is just going to get a ton of volume. So I think it would be really tough for Higbee to outplay him this year.
Yeah, I got to agree with Mike. I do think they both will capitalize, from the new quarterbacks. That's kind of, the tight end is usually like, how, the new quarterback kind of gets. Yeah.
Right.
So, I think they both will put up solid, close to the same numbers, but I agree with Mike. Hockenson is going to get more volume, more targets.
So it's a selling sweep because, I agree too. I thought it would be a little bit closer of a question, but I guess not. I see Detroit, either being competitive in games or, being behind a lot, which there's a reason why Hockenson's tight end 4 right now in mock drafts because they see the volume there. They see a lot of opportunities. So I guess the argument that we're all trying to make is that maybe Higbee might be better in terms of value as far as where you can get him in the draft. So something to keep an eye on out there. All right, buy or sell. Does Ertz, I don't know how we can possibly know this, but does Ertz regain his role as the number 1 tight end in that offense? Goddard is being drafted as tight end 7. Ertz is basically being undrafted at tight end 25.
So I didn't really understand the question, I guess. But either way, I'm probably going to sell on that.
Goddard's the guy?
I don't know if it's Goddard or Goddard. I'll say Goddard
My bad.
because I'm just not like as fancy as you, I guess. But I think that Goddard is the guy. Right? I think that Goddard's the guy in Philly. I think that Ertz, of course, is supremely talented, but a lot of the success that he had was through that kind of marriage between him and Wentz. And I don't think that he has the same chemistry with Jalen Hurts. I don't think that he's going to have it. I think that Goddard is a better route runner. He's a little bit younger. He's more athletic. I don't see, if I had to pick one of them to be successful, I'd pick Goddard. But either way, with the shape of that Philly offense, I'd probably try and stay away from both of them.
Jermz, any chance Ertz kind of comes back to his old form? I mean, we're talking about a Pro Bowl. This guy was the second best tight end just a couple years ago in fantasy too.
This guy was Wentz's roommate last year.
I'm rooting for it, but I don't see it. And the stuff that I looked up today didn't look like he's helping it. I saw some stuff where he was like wearing his shorts inside out, and just silly stuff. Like, dude, what are you doing?
He's probably trying to get traded to Houston.
You're supposed to be a veteran. You're supposed to be a leader. I don't understand. I don't think mentally, he's at his best. So I'm gonna, I don't see it.
Yeah,
selling that too, huh? All right, well, all right. Somebody give me a buy. Somebody give me a buy. Is buy or sell? Irv Smith Jr. is cracking the top 10 this year, guys. Minnesota Vikings. No more Kyle Rudolph.
I'm gonna say no.
All right, next question.
I could go either way. You know what? No, I'll take a buy on this. I hadn't in my notes, but if we're looking for an argument for it, I could definitely see it. You look at, so Kyle Rudolph's gone. Irv Smith has zero competition in the tight end room. And last year, obviously, Justin Jefferson's the guy. He was the guy last year. He's going to be the guy going forward. But if you look toward the end of the year, Irv Smith did have some good chemistry with Cousins. I don't know if Cousins can continue to be that efficient, but I also think that their defense is going to continue to be like absolute garbage. There's going to be a lot of points scored, and you look at how many touchdowns did Adam Thielen have last year? Like 13 or something. I had him on my team. I swear he scored 2 touchdowns every week. It was like 2 receptions for 4 yards and 2 touchdowns to Adam Thielen every single week. I think that Irv Smith could cut into a bit of that, and he may just barely crack the top 10.
Okay.
Thielen was third in touchdowns a year.
Ridiculous.
It was Adams, Hill, Thielen. You would not have thought that.
Yeah.
14 touchdowns.
I like that. That was a good argument.
Yeah, I'm a slight sell. I think he cracks the top 10 in certain matchups, certain weeks. But and with the tight end position, there's really not that much of a gap from like tight end, 8 to like tight end 14. It's really, you have like either the top, 3 guys, then there's like, second tier. But
I think this year that's gonna change, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think.
What do you think is gonna change?
I think Kyle Pitts, man, he's gonna change. He's gonna add he's gonna move up to move up a tier.
The top tier.
Yeah.
Never heard of him. All right. Better pick. Speaking of Pitts,
there it is.
Is the better pick 4th round? Say you have 2 running backs and a receiver. Is it better to get Kyle Pitts in that 4th round, or wait until, say, the 7th or 8th round to get Gesicki? So Pitts ADP right now, I think, is 45. Gesicki's 115. I think we've talked about strategizing, the tight end position. What are you doing, Mike, in that spot?
I've got 2 running backs and a tight end.
You've got two running backs and a
receiver.
You're in the 4th round, and Kyle Pitts the next best available tight end.
I think I'm taking a receiver. I'll go Gesicki in the 8th round. Obviously, Pitts is Pitts is Pitts. I don't think I've ever seen an NFL player hyped as much as Kyle Pitts has been hyped, and it's for good reason. You look at what he did in Florida, and it was amazing. His physical profile and just his overall athleticism, like catch radius, ability after the catch is unreal. But the NFL is just a different beast, and he's so hyped that it reeks disappointment. Like, I just can't. I wouldn't want to take that risk. I'd rather go with a proven option in like a wide receiver that I know is going to perform well, and then maybe try and snag Gesicki or Higbee or CJ Uzama later.
No, you went there. All right. Yeah. You know what intrigues me about Pitts, man, I'll say is he reminds me of like Marcus Colston in the early fantasy years.
Okay.
When he was listed as a tight end for whatever reason. I remember Marcus Colston playing nothing but receiver, but he was listed as a tight end. And I see Pitts as that. I don't see Pitts as being lined up at the line a lot, but he's going to be listed at tight end. So it's kind of going to be an interesting draft
That's
value.
definitely something I want to keep an eye on is like how often he's got his hand in the dirt, because if he had any weakness in Florida, it was blocking. And I think that so for him to be a top 5 tight end in his rookie season has never happened. And the reason that it's never happened, I think, is because there's so much to learn for NFL tight ends, because when they're in college, they're essentially just big wide receivers. But being a tight end in the NFL means blocking. Like, you have to learn the playbook to be able to block, to be able to pull for running backs. You're running from one side to the other. You're not just lining up like a giant wide receiver and running across the field. So I think that's why there's usually a delay. So I'd like to keep an eye on how much he's actually on the line.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Jermz, are you taking next best available Kyle Pitts in the 4th or 5th, or you're going to wait for those third tier guys in the end of the draft?
that one was a little easy. And I got another bold prediction.
Give it to us.
Pitts is going to score double-digit TDs.
Okay.
Double-digit TDs.
All right. Pitts number 1.
So to me, that was easy. Yeah.
Done. Next question.
Next question. Give me in order who scores the most touchdowns between Kittle, Mark Andrews, and Robert Tonyan. Mike, in order.
So I think I'm actually going to go Tonyan, Andrews, Kittle on this one.
That's mine too.
Shit. I like Robert Tonyan a lot, man. I think that, with Rodgers coming back, the offense is going to be what it always was. Rodgers is going to play with a chip on his shoulder, a chip that's even larger than the one that was there last year. And essentially all I like for Andrews to do this year is to score touchdowns. Kittle, I think, played in, 5 games last year, 5-6 games. He scored 2 touchdowns. So he's going to get a ton of volume. I think that Kittle is going to be the better tight end, numbers-wise, by far better than these two. But I have both of them outscoring him in touchdowns.
Sure.
I agree. And Kittle's, I don't know if you guys have, I like to watch, these guys like, their off-season workouts and stuff. And my man looks hungry. His workouts look insane.
Who, Kittle?
Kittle. He looks like, to me, it looks like, he wants to win that title back. He wants to win. He wants to be best tight end. And I think he's going to get it. Legit, I think he's going to get it. I think he's the type of guy that, he can make any QB look solid. And, so whether it's, Jimmy or Field, the other guy, what's his name?
Dude's a machine. I just think most of the Niners touchdowns are going to be scored on the ground. I think that's what Kyle Shanahan likes to do. They like to get it to the 2 and then put 2 running backs out there in a pistol or a shotgun and have the defense on their toes. They're going to be guessing. Trey Lance is going to be running a lot of those in, I think, probably by week 7.
Yeah? Okay.
I think so.
Yeah, Kittle was targeted 63 times in the games he played.
Yeah.
Only 2 touchdowns. I don't remember Kittle being that much of a touchdown guy. I could be wrong, but I think that's why I went the same. I went Tonyan, Andrews, and Kittle. I agree. Tonyan was the only double-digit scorer in tight end alongside Kelce. So them 2 tied at 11 touchdowns. I like Tonyan. It looks like Rodgers really loves going to Tonyan, whether it's red zone or you're 60 yards away or whatever. So we're going to wrap this up, guys. Just going to ask a few questions about your rankings. Remember, we're going to be posting these in the description below, as well as right after, or maybe right now. Who knows? So I see, Jerm, you got Jonnu and Henry as your 14th and 15th. What have you seen that makes you feel that they're going to be kind of in that third tier of tight ends this year?
Kind of like what I just said earlier about just the tight ends being like, the QBs like best friends type of thing, especially for Cam Newton, scrambling quarterbacks. Those are the guys that you see first. You're scrambling around, they open up, just dump pass. I think those 2 guys are, veterans. They're going to help out, whether it's Cam or it's Jones. Right?
Yeah, Mac Jones.
Mac Jones.
Mike, tell me about Trautman. You got him as your tight end 15.
Yeah, I like Trautman a lot. I think that it's sort of dependent on who's going to be the quarterback in New Orleans. So if it's Taysom Hill, then I think Trautman's going to take a hit there. But I think with Jameis Winston behind center, I think Trautman has a chance to definitely be top 15, especially you look at the injury to Michael Thomas. They're saying it's 12 weeks, so he's going to miss the first 6 or something like that. But how often does that happen? Joe Mixon stubbed his toe last year, like week 5, and he was out for like 11 straight weeks. So I don't believe that very much. So I actually really like Trautman. I have him 15 right now, but I wouldn't be surprised if he topped 12.
Okay. Yeah, I like my 15. I think is it Dawson Knox? I think is his name.
Yeah.
Dawson Knox. Yeah.
For Buffalo.
Yeah, I think he creeps in the top 15 this year. But one guy I'm gonna mention, he's not in my rankings just because. Really, the Kyle Pitts factor, I'll mention again. If he's not lined up as tight end for the Falcons, which is very possible because at least the highlights I've seen in practice, he's lined up as a receiver, then Hayden Hurst is still getting snaps at tight end. And, he's a red zone, machine, just
right.
like, Austin Hooper was there. Hurst is in his last year. They said they're not picking up the 5th-year option. So, I think he's someone to watch for, just to keep an eye on. He's not in my rankings, but did want to give him a little shout out.
Nice.
All right, fellas.
He's going to throw the ball a ton,
Yeah.
I'm expecting that.
Julio gone.
That's
I'm excited for
somewhere.
Double-digit stuff because I expect Matt Ryan to light it up.
Yeah.
Right. Well, thanks, fellas, for coming on, and hopefully we can do this pretty soon with some running backs. I can't wait for some receiver talk, man. Got some big sleepers for receivers. Let's go make sure that no one else in our league wins another championship ever again. All right.
That's the plan.
No new chance.
No.